Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Welcome to B'nai Baruch Learning Center. Tonight we're on Lesson 12, but before we start I'd like to remind you that in February, Tel Aviv, Israel, February 2nd through the 4th, there'll be a Congress occurring and you are invited. They're expecting about 6,000 people and I think over 1,000 have already signed up. So if you want a hotel room, I think you should do it soon. Before we start, we'd like to read an intention. We can live in this world without understanding what is taking place in nature, in society, and in our world, without knowing the past and the future, and without knowing what is happening to us and above us, as well as where humanity is going. Existence under the influence of the surrounding universe is unconscious or animal existence. However, in the spiritual world, it is impossible to understand one's state without having the understanding of its cause and consequence. Lesson 12, a conclusion and review. To summarize what we have covered so far, there are 5 filters around man that conceal the light of the Creator, our 5 worlds. If a man acts naturally for himself, he finds himself under the influence of these filters. All of them are above him. If a man decides to correct himself in accordance with the properties of just one of these filters, even the lowest of them, he will ascend. He will stand above the filter, and his attributes will match the attributes of the given world. Furthermore, if his attributes become similar to those of the other 2 worlds, he will neutralize the action of these 2 filters as well, and he will find himself above them.
Let's stop there. For those of you that don't know, Ed's on vacation this week, our normal reader, and tonight we have Jim. I already forgot.
First time.
Sorry about that. We were on mute. For those of you all that noticed that Ed isn't here reading tonight, Ed's on vacation, and so Jim is stepping in and taking care of that for us. For any of you that were at Congress, you'll remember Jim. He's the one that can downright play a harmonica, something wicked. Welcome to this final conclusion and review lesson. And what we are going to do here is to go through some of what we've been talking about here and really kind of get into a little bit about what it means to us as well. And so what that means is that the first thing that we need to define is talk about these filters and what's going on here. And that gets confusing to a lot of people because they see this all these different worlds and symbols and they see all these different names like Tzimtzum or like Parsuf or like Adam Kadmon or Adam Harishon or Adam this, Adam that, Adam everything. Yeah, what in the world is all this stuff? You know, give me something that I can relate to. Give me something I can understand, right?
It goes on and on.
So, let's see if we can't do that. Let's break it down to where it's as simple as it can possibly be without any problem at all. And what we're going to do is we're going to talk about concealment. Right now, we are in 100% concealment. In other words, what we're really talking about here is that the Creator is doing all the concealing. That's it. 100% concealment. In other words, I have a Masach. But I have a Masach that works, not that it's mine. The Creator's doing all the work for me. The Creator's the one that's actually making the concealment. And so, what I want to do here, let's divide it into 5 levels, because out of that we can divide. It's pretty good, huh? Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I even got the number right. Okay, so let's say that I advance in spirituality. And instead of the Creator doing all the concealing, I do a ton of the concealing. Instead of Him having to do all of the concealment of the pleasure from Him, I elect to do it myself. So He's not having to do it. What would happen then? Then, inasmuch as He no longer has to, that He can lift that masach, that screen, and I replace it with mine, in this area, guess what? I have revelation of the Creator. I actually am able to reveal the Creator. I'm actually able to sense the Creator. This is the whole goal. But what does it mean for me to move from here to gain that masach? What is this? What is this here? That's a big question, because that's what they're talking about here in the book, where it says, if a man desires to correct himself in accordance with the property of just one of these filters, even the lowest of them, he will ascend. What does ascend mean? He will stand above the filter, and his attributes will match the attributes of that given world or place. So, and then it goes on to say, if he's similar to two worlds, then he neutralizes the action of these two filters as well, and will find himself above them. In other words, we're actually talking about, when they call it filters here, what we're really talking about is, we are talking about masakim. We're talking about a masach. We're talking about screens. And this is precisely what I want to gain, is my own screen, instead of having the Creator having to do all of the screening for me. In other words, an intention to do what the Creator does. But what really does this mean? What's the difference in here and here? What is this change? That's the real question. Everyone needs to know this. If you don't know what needs to be fixed, if you don't know what's broke, the game's already over. It's over. You can't fix what you don't know is broke. And this, what really needs to be changed are qualities. That's what must be changed. This is the most important thing that I can understand. I have to know what has to happen for me to advance spiritually. And the only way that I am actually able to do that is only under the circumstance that I change. And there's always a fly in the ointment. Every time. What's the problem with me changing?
I don't want to do it.
No, I want everything but me to change.
Right.
You bet I'm all for change. You changing. Me, I'll stay the same, thank you very much. But I want all this to change out here.
Right.
And I don't mind you changing. I mean, you know.
I'm fine. I just want
Maybe
this to change so that I
grow some hair or something,
wait.
you know. You just change a little here. I mean, look at this poor guy. But the bottom line here is that I have to change. And not only do I have to change, I have to want to change. And it's worse than that. Not only do I have to want to change, I have to demand to change. And it's worse than that. It keeps getting bad, doesn't it?
Worse than that?
Worse than that. Not only do I have to demand to change, I have to demand to change in such a way that I cannot remain in my current state one more moment. Because that in itself is a state. My state of being able to wait one more moment And that state might last.
A lifetime.
Yeah. Yeah. And then what? I can write off this lifetime. I have to get to that point where a complete, total 100% demand is made. And that's what they're referring to here. Let's continue.
We are now experiencing Zimzum, and it seems to us that the Creator no longer wants us to perceive Him, which is why He conceals Himself. Actually, if we perform a correction equal to the world of Asiya, this means we are located in this world. He has removed the filter He no longer needs, as He can now retain the light and receive it for the sake of giving. Then He realizes that for the Creator, it does not matter whether we are making the restriction in order to receive for His sake or for our own. Simply, man himself reaches a level where there is no distinction between receiving or giving, truth and lies, good deeds and transgressions. Man himself chooses what he prefers. But on the Creator's side, there is only one desire, to delight man. The type of delight depends on the receiver. The main objective is, without any conditions set by the Creator, to choose the altruistic ascent, even though no reward or punishment for self will be incurred. This choice is not on the punishment-reward level, but is on the highest spiritual level, where selflessness and detachment prevail. The Creator places 5 filters in front of man to seal him off from the divine light. Behind the 5th and final filter, the Creator is not sensed at all. This is where our material world is located. There also, life is supported by a tiny spark of light, ner dakik, which is the meaning of our life, the sum of all our desires from all generations and all souls since the dawn of mankind. This light is so minute that the deeds carried out by the souls are not considered transgressions, but are merely considered as minimal animal life. There is no restriction on receiving these minimal pleasures, so live and enjoy.
So what's the situation here? What's the story? Y'all are saying. We're going to work that out.
This is hard.
That's difficult.
Just can't remember something as simple as that.
Make a mute sign.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh, we apologize. So the main objective is, without any conditions set by the Creator, to choose the altruistic ascent, even though no reward or punishment for self be incurred. The choice is not on the punishment-reward level, but it's on the highest spiritual level where selflessness and detachment prevails. So what in the world is this choice? What do they mean there's no coercion here? What would no coercion be? If we stop and think about it, if I have no opportunity, no perceived opportunity for a reward to actually get something in return, if I'm not going to get something in return out of the deal, if I have no stake in it at all, now we're talking about a situation where I can choose. In other words, I have nothing but coercion here.
Right.
The only place, and yet they say there's no coercion in spirituality. Yeah, but everywhere else, I have nothing but coercion. I'm coerced left and right every single time. You know, hey, I'm coerced. I feel a desire for tea.
I constantly seeking pleasure, and no matter what form, no matter how it's dressed. Right.
Right, so we can define coercion here. How do we define coercion? Coercion is when I sense I will either gain pleasure or relieve
Avoid the pain.
suffering. Either way, this is coercion, and there's not a blasted thing you can do about it. Here, you're going to get coerced. And you're going to get coerced based upon one thing and one thing only, what you want or what you want to avoid. In other words, really it's the same thing, the pleasure from the avoidance of suffering. Right. So it's the same way every single time. Every single time. the Creator places 5 filters in front of man to seal him off from the divine light. 5 levels, 5 masachim, 5 screens, if you will, all the way down to where we are now. What's so blasted special about being where we are now?
Well, from what you just said, it sounds like we're at a place where there's no coercion for this, so we can make a choice.
That's exactly right. We actually, for once, in one place, in one single place, we have no coercion. We have the ability to choose, not based upon the coercion from a desire. What desire? The desire for what? I am expecting no reward here. And that's, by the way, why I don't know there is a desire for what. If I knew the what, I would have a desire for it. That's why there's this mystery thing. That's why we can say, everyone thinks, oh yeah, I've had some perception of the Creator. It is absolutely imperative they don't have any perception of the Creator. None, zero. To get a perception of the Creator would be coercion. You would be a robot. You would be instantly in a flash, addicted. So something else has to happen first.
Right back to where we're at now. We just want it for the pleasure.
Sure. What's the difference? There's no change here. There wouldn't be any change of qualities from my qualities to his qualities. I'm just getting a freebie out of the deal. And also here he talks about this light called Nir Dakik. Nir Dakik. Oh, Nir. I didn't butcher that, did I hope? I'll hear about that tomorrow. Which is the meaning of our life, the sum of all of our desires from all generations. A tiny spark of light. Did you hear that? One more time. The only thing that reaches where we are now, right here, today, is a tiny spark of light called Nir Dakik, which is the meaning of our life, the sum of all of our desires from all generations in all souls since the dawn of mankind. One single solitary spark of light. What did it create? This universe. This universe. One spark. This gives you an idea of the massive volume of pleasure we're talking about here. It's mind-boggling. What do we have for questions over here?
Sophia Belmont is asking, is it possible to know if we changed and if the change is permanent? I think we know if we changed by how important the goal is to us. And we sense it through our desires. If our desires change from just wanting simple desires in this world to please me, to benefit me, if this goal to get into spirituality becomes more and more important, and I'm not focused on these desires and what I can get for me, but I want to change, this change that you're talking about, if that becomes more important to me, I think that's how we can judge if we're changing or not.
Definitely. There is a period before I get here. See, we think of this area right here, as actually being here. But it's not. There is an area down here of preparation. And what is this area? What's going to happen here? Because we need to know what's happening here for one reason. This is where we are. This is the place. So let's take a look at that. If I were to draw that again, and I won't draw it all quite so pretty. We have 100%. And we have the 5 levels. Ha, did it again. So,
You're getting good.
I'm getting good. So, we have this area of preparation, but we're going to draw this preparation this way. Where we develop, this is here, we're going to call this 6,000, well actually 5,200 or 730.
Where
what?
we're at now?
Yeah.
69, I think.
69. So we have all of this period from year 0, Adam, all the way up here. That's a development period. And different layers of aviyut. Now we all remember what aviyut is. And somewhere toward this last go-round for me, because I've been back and forth here for a long time. And somewhere here now, I begin to sense this desire for this ultimate pleasure, this incredible pleasure, this pleasure that has nothing to do with this place here. I don't know what it is. I have no clue what it is. I just know something's missing. Something's out there. Something's being concealed from me. Somebody's hiding something from me. And I don't like secrets. Let me know what's behind door number 1. In other words, I begin to seek that. I begin to seek this thing that I'm missing and not understanding, and slowly I'm brought. Maybe I go through a lot of other stuff first. Maybe I went through religions. Maybe I went through all sorts of different difficulties in my life. Or maybe I went through philosophies, or maybe I went through meditation. Maybe I went through worshiping my Reiki. Maybe I went through worshiping my ficus. Whatever. I went through all these different things, trying to find this thing that I'm missing, and all of a sudden, it's like out of the blue, I find myself here. And I find myself here in a situation, in a circumstance, to where I'm being fed slowly what has to happen. I'm being fed that I must now change. That not what's outside of me changes. It isn't that I'm going to receive anything. It's that I have to change. Mike has to change. This is where it has to happen. So I'm going through a period of development to do that.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Some people on this path, like you say in someone's life, maybe they were in different religions or New Thought or whatever. Other people just had a miserable life. I mean, it can be, one person went from one philosophy to the next, always searching for the Creator in some fashion until they come to Kabbalah. And other people just seem like they're just struggling, like one terrible thing in their life after another. Does it matter? It brings you to the same place in the end. I mean, it seems like no matter what, you all end up at Kabbalah, you all end up at the 0 point, and it's
really a good question, because we look around and we say, well, what about that guy? How come that guy didn't get plastered the way I got plastered? How come I'm getting bombarded? Number one, you don't know what that guy went through. I mean, there might be things inside that are unseen by you and unsensed by you. In truth, everyone has to go through everything. But you don't know when you might have gone through something that he already went through. In other words, you're saying, hey, I had all this pain. Maybe he had all that pain last time. You don't know. So it's kind of a hard way to look at it. We want to relate to this, this thing, this human being. This was it. It's all that's ever been. It's all that's going to be of Dave. That's it, bald head and all. You can't go any further. So, unfortunately, you had hair last time. And then we can go back further and further and further. It skips a generation. No, seriously. A person has been through several circumstances prior to this. And most certainly, different people have gone through different circumstances. They go through precisely what they need at this given moment. It's already planned out for you. You're going through specifically what you need to get to this place to where you begin to travel up the ladder. And what's important here is this preparation period. Because there comes a point in the preparation period when you say, okay, now I'm ready to begin. Yes, I understand what I have to do. I understand that it is not this that needs to change. It's not you that needs to change with all your incredible faults. No. And in fact, it's worse than that. The faults that I perceive in you are mine. I am evil. And I'm the only thing that has to change here. I'm the only thing that needs to change. That's it. I become ripe like fruit. I become prepared to accept this thing of what I must do, this change that I absolutely must incur if I'm going to advance. And what if I don't? What if I say, you know what? No. I don't want to change. I'm just going to stick with wanting what's outside of me to change. I will be compelled.
Little push from behind.
I'll get a push.
Like we're seeing.
No, you get all sorts of little pushes. You get a little push because you slammed your toe in the door. Or you get another little push and there's a hurricane in the Indian Ocean that kills 250,000 people. Or you get another little push and you have trouble at your work. Or you get another little push. And we have a worldwide financial crisis where literally this whole economic system could fall right down the trash can.
Yeah, real quick.
Yeah. So pushes come in a lot of different ways. They come for, maybe you have a push for something that gets you further down the road. Maybe you've experienced this, this, and this. Maybe some big things, maybe some little things, maybe some things that really hurt, maybe some things that really felt good. But something got you asking the question of, what is the meaning of my life? Why am I on this planet? And you're seeing a lot of people begin to ask that question by droves. Why? They've been pushed enough. They've had enough. They want to know, why is this happening to me? I want to know why this is occurring to me. What's happening to me? Why is it? What am I supposed to be doing here? Is there something I'm supposed to be doing while I'm on this planet besides having kids? Do we have more questions?
A question from Nathan, Louisiana.
Yeah.
Do the different degrees of light have intensity? That is, if there were no screen, would an individual shatter as the soul of Adam did?
There's a fail-safe mechanism built in now, Nathan, where you can't. There's no way that anything will break now. But here's the most important thing: you're not understanding what broke. You say, if there was no screen, would an individual shatter? Nathan, it is the screen that's broke. That's exactly what's broken. That's what has to be repaired. That's where we're at. That's the situation, the circumstance we find ourselves in. So make sure you understand what's broken. And second of all, different degrees of light have intensity. Of course. Of course. We have different stages of light, different qualities of light, and of course the intensity, the aviyut, that's controlled by the aviyut. Let's try another one.
Help me with the name.
Abraxas?
Abraxas,
I think, from Berkeley.
from Berkeley. Although you do not make your decisions based on desires, they are still determined since you make them according to the input you got in the past. The processing just is different since you use the creator software.
What's the question here? I missed it.
Although
Or is
you
this
do,
just to say, scroll down a little bit. We'll see if there's a question below it.
how do I?
Or their opinion. Is that what we got?
Well, that's it.
Abraxas, I assume you're asking, is this correct? Although you do not make your decisions based on desires, they are still determined since you make them according to the input you got in the past. The processing just is different since you use the creator software.
Maybe once you're in spirituality, or the software, you're talking about the software change.
Are we independent? Are we really independent, or now are we just switching software and now we're slaves of the creator instead? In other words, I'm going to be slave to me, or I'm going to be slave to the creator. I'm going to be slave to my ego, or I'm going to be slave to the creator. Okay, is it going to be Pharaoh, or is it going to be Moses? Which one do I get here? Is that the truth? No, it isn't. What you end up with is you have the creator on the right side, you have the will to receive on the left side,
Well,
and you're smack dab right in between.
go back a page. I think last week he was explaining that where you become this middle point, right? I mean, you're
Right.
in between the two.
Yeah, it grows into that, yes. You're exactly right. Grows into, from the point that will become, from that, what we call that seed, that sperm, it grows into a full-fledged soul. Of course, would be the spiritual version. Got another one?
Nathan, again, you said there are 5 screens. Are these 5 screens in all the worlds that we ascend?
Are these 5 screens in all the worlds that we ascend? Yes, by the way. You have, but the screen for nefesh of nefesh is not the same as the screen for neshama of nefesh, or the screen for nefesh of neshama. And by the way, there are a lot more than 5, a lot more, and because the qualities are going to change, even though they can have one overall basic quality, there's going to be different levels of quality in between this. You have different layers in the screen. So in truth, it's like having a whole bunch more screens. A bunch more. 613 of them.
More questions?
Yeah,
or-
let's take another one.
Paul from Colorado. The blows and sufferings that come to move man forward, are these not coercive forces provoking evolution?
Of course. Sure. Anytime I'm getting nailed, I'm trying to get out of suffering, or I have this thing full of pleasure sitting in front of me. I'm being coerced. That's the deal. There's nothing here but coercion. We're coerced to be born. We're coerced every single moment of our life through desire. And then we're coerced to die. We don't have a choice in this matter.
Right. It's not like what you were saying earlier, there's no coercion in spirituality. I mean, if you felt that, if you felt the creator, then you'd be coerced to want.
Oh, that's a totally different story.
That's
you
a
bet.
totally different thing.
You bet. Now we're talking about something entirely different. Now we're talking about being coerced from this desire to do what the creator does. First of all, I don't even recognize that it's that desire. Second of all, I don't recognize any reward out here. What reward? I'm at a loss here. I don't see any reward coming from this. We have one from Venezuela?
Yep. Carmen from Venezuela.
Great.
If we study Kabbalah in some ways to avoid suffering, why it seems to me that we still suffer?
Yeah, that's a real problem, isn't it, Carmen? Now we go back. A person begins to study so that they will not suffer anymore, right? Everybody's the same. I'll study so I won't suffer. I'll study so I get a reward. I'll study so I get healthier. I'll study so I can get smarter, so I have a better relationship with my girlfriend or my husband or whatever. You married yet? No?
No.
You looking for...
What was you getting to there?
Just thought I'd... okay. So, what I have, what I come...
I'm getting redder.
Notice that. Notice that. Did I say something? Because I wouldn't want to say something out of order here. Yet I don't have any sensation of a reward, Paul, or a punishment. I don't know that some hurricane in the Indian Ocean hit because my qualities aren't what they should be now. Where's my connection to that? All I know is I'm getting beaten. In other words, I'm getting a motivation to ask, why am I getting beaten? That's why. Let's continue reading for a little bit.
This light, and they're speaking about the Ner Dekik, the light that made this world, small spark. This light is so minute that the deeds carried out by the souls are not considered transgressions, but are merely considered as minimal animal life. There is no restriction on receiving these minimal pleasures, so live and enjoy. However, if you want more, you have to become similar to the spiritual. Each spiritual pleasure means committing a completely altruistic bestowal, regardless of yourself. To achieve this, you must reach a certain level and act like the filter itself, by shielding away the incoming light. The filter then ceases to exist, and one is able to push away the light that strives to enter one's kli. This person will later on receive, for the sake of the Creator. The soul of Adam conformed to the 30 Sfirot of the 3 worlds of Bia, which represent the same world of Absolute, but are located inside egoistic desires with Avayut Bet, Avayut Gimel, and Avayut Dalet.
So let's take a look at this. Great news. Wonderful news. The desires that we're talking about here with regard to spirituality have nothing to do with here. So no one's saying, oh, Dave, stop living. You can't do that. I mean, what are you going to stop? Think about it. Someone says, okay, I'm going to stop eating. You're not going to stop eating. You die. I'm going to stop sleeping. Give that one a go. You don't have to worry about dying from it. Sooner or later, you'll fall asleep. It becomes a necessity, and you have to sleep. This entire process isn't to stop the desires or the life you have. This entire process is something that's in addition to it. It is something that you can actually sink your teeth into. That's not here. It's a desire for something that's literally out of this world. And this is what that I really, really want to focus on, because a lot of people have this huge confusion, have a major confusion, thinking that somehow I have this need to not do the things I normally do in life.
Well, yeah, I think sometimes we feel if we're doing something that we judge as, especially if it's something we judge as bad, and if we stop doing that, we feel like we're making a correction, that we're correcting ourselves.
Right.
But that's not really what correction is.
To it. That has absolutely nothing to do with what we're talking about here. Nothing. Because no matter what I do here, we have these judgments, and we say, oh my gosh, the train robber, yeah, I see Will receiving this deal. This man wants someone else's money. And yet I fail to realize that every single action I make, no matter how much love I think there's in it, even toward my family, toward my kids, every single bit of it It's all will to receive. I don't have the ability to make an act. That's not will to receive. None. Zero.
It's all for me.
It's all for me. And so what's going to happen as I do this? I begin to say, yes, okay, I recognize as, where did this come from? Was it Jasmine or Paul? It was Paul.
It was Paul, yeah.
As Paul just said, we're doing this, in order, no. I'm doing this in order to get out of the suffering. Yeah, I'm willing to do this change thing. I'm willing to change. But what I want is I want something out of the deal. Give me a reward. I'll change. Why? I have no idea, but that's what I need. Fine. I want my reward. This is called lo lishma. Lo lishma. Not for her name.
Let me ask Jasmine a question.
Sure.
How does this one desire become more important when the Creator heightens our corporeal desires at times? It's the way it works. I mean, our corporeal desires continue to grow. The way we get the importance is from the group, is from the environment that we place ourselves in. That's where we get the importance. And our work that's the way it works, is the desire grows and we have to keep climbing on top of it.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like, yeah. Remember when you were, I don't know if when you were a kid back in the 20s, but they had...
All right, I'm out of here.
They had stories about Atlas. Remember Atlas? They had stories about, Atlas that held the world on his shoulders. And you don't remember those stories?
No.
You don't remember Atlas?
Yeah, I remember Atlas.
Anyway, when he was young, what he started to do, how did he get so strong? He took a little calf. Remember that story?
Right.
And
as the calf grew,
he lifts it over his head 10 times, and the next day he's doing it, and the next day.
He kept getting stronger and
but
stronger.
But the calf is eating.
Right.
And the calf is growing. And so as the calf grows bigger and bigger and bigger, Atlas is getting stronger and stronger and stronger because he's taking a lot more strength to lift the calf.
Right.
Same principle as weightlifting. And this is no different here. It's exactly what you were talking about. Is that what happens? I actually progress and I don't know it. I feel like I'm doing this. I feel like I have a really strong importance of a goal and then I lose it. And then a really strong importance of the goal and then I lose it. And then a really strong importance of the goal and then everything but the goal. Everything in corporeality is important. That's how I feel like it. So all of these peaks here are all when spirituality is important. And all of these lows here are all when corporeality is important. That's not the way it works. Not at all. What is the way that it actually works? It actually works in a manner to where as I go up this preparation period, and I'm going to, this between here and here would be the preparation period, and I'm going to make it, blow it up and make it big. So this equals that. What's happening along in here? What's occurring to make me grow? What is occurring is I'm on this level here, meaning, what does it mean that I'm on a certain level? What it means is that the desire to do what the Creator does has a certain level of importance to me in comparison with all the other desires that I have. And as I go through this level, which its importance is relatively small, really, but I'm going to go through this level here. And as I make it up to this very first plateau, what is me going up?
Change of desire.
Me going up is getting the importance of the desire from the group and places like that, right?
Right.
In other words, I'm having circumstances come to me, my everyday life and corporate reality, with its good things, its bad things, but the importance level is here. But the importance level of the goal just keeps right on rising, and until it's above it, it's more important. That represents one notch up here. And now that I'm at this level, I begin to sense the weight of the next level. What do I mean, the weight? The egoism. The level of will to receive for myself, of which I have to place this again on top of. So what is the sensation to me? Even though I'm feeling something from up here now pressing on me, the feeling to me is, whoa, spirituality is no longer important. I feel really like football's important, money's important, kids are important, family's important. The new Harry Potter movie is a lot more important than Kabbalah. They delayed that until May. Do you know that? Or June? Something like that.
I didn't know that.
And now, once again, guess what? Once again, I have to, slowly but surely, from what feels to me like it's a complete total 0 point, once again, I feel like everything is more important. And Kabbalah's way down here on the totem pole, somewhere under my desire for you to get a haircut. That's pretty low, buddy. Because I'd be asking which one. Now, so what we have here is slowly this desire builds back up until it is more important than all of this new level of egoism. And then what's going to happen? Next level, right on top of me again. And again, what happened? I built the desire higher and higher and higher, and then I came down. I got a new level of aviyut, and then I built it higher and higher and higher, and then a new level of aviyut. Then higher and higher and higher, and a new level of aviyut.
It continues.
So, what's the real picture? The real picture is this.
It's more extreme. Yeah.
Like this.
Because they keep getting stronger every time.
Right, as I get stronger, just as Atlas grew, because he could lift more weight, I can lift more aviyut. I can maintain the goal as being the most important desire over more and more and more levels of aviyut. Now, that does not mean things, because people, this is a big confusion. People say, okay, I made it more important than my house payment. I made it more important than football. I made it more important than whatever, shopping. I made it more important than breathing. I'm finished. Where's the change? The change is wait for it. Because what's going to happen is all of a sudden it's going to feel just the opposite, and you're going to feel like everything is more important than. All of a sudden football became important again. Whammo. Did I go through the same desire again? What's that deal? I mean, I already put it ahead of football. No. No, it didn't get more important than football again. I mean, it isn't that you're going through it again. It's an increase of aviyut. How important this anything outside how important reception is to me. And all that the football is, or the shopping.
There's a way we're dressing it.
How we dress it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Because the goal, this desire is totally different than this other desire we're looking at. This was
100%.
for me. So we're dressing it as football, whatever.
Right.
It's still that same desire that I want to receive pleasure.
Exactly
So
right.
that desire's back, the other one's gone. Yeah.
Couldn't be more right.
Makes sense.
Let's see what kind of questions we have.
Nathan, again, is changing and reincarnation one and the same?
Yes.
Reincarnation is a change of states, isn't it?
Sure. It happens all the time. What's reincarnation? It is the circulation of desire. Greater of you, greater of you, greater of you. Sure. Wow, that guy's from a long way away.
Tasmania.
Wow.
His name's Paul. The desire to know and become like the Creator is my main desire and goal. It can become so strong that all I want to do is immerse myself in study. This can be at the detriment of spending time with my family. How does one create balance in one's study? Well, we have to take care of the things in our life, our necessities, our family, work. We can't ever stop doing that, Paul. That's, we have necessities that we need to maintain, and we can't let those go. So, other than that, though, I mean, whatever free time we have outside of taking care of our necessities, work and family and sleep.
But don't get confused here. There is a necessity called personal time. There's a necessity called rest. There's a definite necessity when I have to be able to switch off and just, in other words, I can't be in front of the computer every single moment that I'm, okay, I give my wife 20 minutes for supper. She cooked it. I went and sat down. Let's see, necessity, I needed to say 20 words to her. I got in 18. I got 3 more to go. I'll make those at night before we go to bed. And then I'm back at the, no. We're talking about a normal life here. A normal life. And to some extent, it all needs, you have to have necessity. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with going out to dinner. There's nothing wrong with taking a vacation. There's nothing wrong with all this stuff. Ever, like we said. It's on vacation. He's on vacation, I think, every, 45 days?
Yeah.
Jeez. I don't know what he works for,
how does he get all this time?
And then he comes in and says, "Oh, I'm so tired. I work so hard."
Yeah.
Daggum. But did they really have those Tasmanian devil things down there? You ever heard of those?
The what?
Tasmanian devil?
Yeah.
Remember the cartoon with the looked like a hurricane? Just
What's down here?
Ah.
The sock. Wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. Let me scroll up here. Oh, there's a bunch of them here. Okay, Roberto from Venezuela. Since long ago, we feel that we have advanced, and now we feel the need to have the contact within ourselves. So how can we give the control to our humanity?
I'm not real sure I understand this question. First of all, since a long ago, we feel that we have advanced, and now we feel the need to have the contact within ourselves. You feel like you have advanced to what? Advancement, actually, many times is a bad feeling. I feel like I'm not getting toward the goal. Why? Because I got an additional level of view. How can we give the control to our humanity? I don't understand. I don't want the control in the hands of humanity. I want the control in the hands of the Creator. The last thing I really want is control in a huge body that basically wants to receive for itself.
So we're trying to get, that's what we're trying to change.
Yeah, exactly. Let's try another one.
Ludi from Mexico. Since we crossed the barrier, Maksum, can we say that we started to study Kabbalah? Since we crossed, well, we haven't crossed the barrier.
Yeah, I guess
That's
she's asking, once you cross the barrier, Maksum, can we say that we started studying Kabbalah? No. You can say you start studying Kabbalah while you're still in this procedure, because Maksum's way up here. Maksum's up here. Yes?
So all of these is working our way up to Maksum.
Right, exactly. And so slowly but surely, I'm in these states to where really what I'm doing is I'm doing this. Going up and down each time, and it feels like it comes down even further each time, but it's just the weight that it pulls me down.
Just basically coming back to the same state
Sure, it's what's
that I
happening.
want for me.
Sure. What really is this? Is my attitude toward what's outside of me. How much I want to use it to please me.
So there's a name I don't know. Sarah Diante from Colombia.
Sounds good to me.
How many pleasures are of the Creator and how many are of the creature?
All pleasures from the Creator. Every bit of it. There's no such thing as pleasure coming from the creature. Doesn't exist. Let's read on a little bit.
When Adam corrects his actions and spiritualizes them, he ascends together with the worlds of the world. He ascends together with the worlds to the world of Absolute. After passing through the 6,000 degrees of correction, Adam HaRishon fully ascends to the world of Absolute. Each soul, being a fragment of the Partsuf of Adam HaRishon, follows the same path. We cannot choose what needs to be corrected, but correct what is sent to us from above, what is revealed to us, and so on to the highest level. Our perception of the spiritual is actually a change in our senses. Even an insignificant change in our senses will significantly modify our perception of reality and our world. Everything we sense is called the creation. Just as our sensations are subjective, the picture we build is also subjective. As mentioned earlier in this book, scientists constantly try to expand the limits of our senses with microscopes, telescopes, all kinds of sensors, and so on. But all these aids do not change the essence of our perceptions. It is as if we are imprisoned by our sensory organs. All the incoming information penetrates us through our 5 sensors: visual, auditory, tactile, gustatory, and olfactory. All information we receive in our senses undergoes some processing inside us and is sensed and assessed following one algorithm. Is it better or worse for us? From above, we are given the opportunity to create a 6th organ of sensation. Kabbalah teaches that the only thing created is the desire to have pleasure and delight. Our brains are aimed only at the development of this sensation, measuring it correctly. The brain is an auxiliary appliance, nothing more. The result of studying Kabbalah correctly is a comprehensive and thorough experience of the true universe, as clear and even clearer than our present perception of the world. The perception of both worlds gives us a full and comprehensive picture, including the highest force, the Creator, who rules the entire universe. If we study it correctly, using authentic sources in a group of like-minded people and under the guidance of an authentic teacher, we can qualitatively modify our organs of sensation and discover the spiritual world and our Creator.
Well, that's...
Thanks, Mrs. Reagan.
Glad you looked.
Yeah.
Well, basically what we learn is that we're not talking about 5 steps here. It isn't 5 steps. It's 6,000. It's a lot of steps. And the first part is, what am I actually doing here? As I climb this egoism thing, this ladder, and I build it higher, and then I do it again. And then it happens to me again, and then again, all the way to the top, all the way until it reaches here, and finally there's that last thing that's more important.
I have a question. This 6,000, is this 6,000 steps in the preparation period, or 6,000 steps when we get into spirituality and Yetzir, Asiya, Yetzir, and Beriah, you know? Or is that in the preparation period? What do you mean 6,000?
Let's call it in the preparation period, because if it's not in the preparation period, this looks way too big, doesn't it?
Okay.
I think it's a better idea.
Okay.
What is the truth? Some of it is the working concealment, this, developing the desire. Some of it is cross maxom, here. Because you see, what we actually have here is we have Adam Kadmon, Atzilut, Bria, Yetzirah, and Asiya. And we can actually talk about this part being right in here. And all of that, really, there's a separate part here. Because this part will be felt a little bit differently than what's in Asiya. And we're not going to get into what or how. And above, into Bria, when we make this jump from here to here, that's actually crossing Maxom. Down here, we have 2 levels of concealment, single and double. Tony has gone over these levels in great length. But double concealment is when the Creator is non-existent. What Creator? What force that drives everything? And then that single concealment is when, yes,
There's a Creator.
I agree there's a Creator, the big fat jerk.
Hard to justify everything still at this stage of the
And
game.
I mean, this guy owes me money. We're talking about,
He owes me money.
And a lot of other folks too. Hey, we're having a financial crisis here. And besides, hey, you're pretty rough on New Orleans, big guy.
Yeah.
And pretty much took out most of the countries lying around the Indian Ocean. What's up with that? We got to talk, buddy. In other words, everything that the Creator does is not necessarily good. What's up with that? I can't tell that they're good. They don't look good to me. They don't feel good to me. And they tell me that when I'm in the reward and punishment phase above Maxom, that I will realize that the Creator never did anything to me bad, or anybody else, ever.
Wow.
So obviously there is a circumstance here. There's a circumstance where my picture that I currently have is wrong. It is not the right picture. It is not the accurate picture. It is not a picture of the way things truly are. How could I be this wrong? I see it. I see the people out here. I see the suffering that these people go through. I see the tragedies, the wars, the horrible conditions that people live in, how can we possibly say this? How could my picture be that false? And I can't understand it. And they say, I see this person, hey, and, they're hungry. How do I know? I've been hungry before. This isn't just a seeing thing. I feel hungry. What about that?
It's hard to justify.
It's impossible to justify, and here's the problem. If I say, you know what, okay, it was the Creator, and there's good in it. No problem. That's a lie.
I don't really feel that way. Though.
No. I don't.
I've already felt my reaction to it. Now I'm just trying to justify it.
That's it.
I mean, what you see is what you really perceive. I mean, it's instant. It's before you think even. I felt bad about it. To go back and say, well, the Creator did it. It's not my true feeling.
I'm lying to myself. What kind of a deal is that? I can't fake it. I can't fake the Creator out here. No way. It has to be something that's very real. Let's try a question or two.
Question. Zahana from Santa Monica. Do we feel Nirdatic inside and Or Makif outside of us?
You're getting one spark inside you. It's called Nirdakig. And it is your reality. Every bit of it. All of it, Zana. The Or Makif outside of you is pleasure that you have not received yet and are sensing in the future. It has nothing to do with the pleasure here. Here you've already got it, whether you sense it or not. So it's really a matter of the Or Makif. Where's it? That's precisely what you want to pull towards you. What does the Or Makif do, Zana? The Or Makif brings you the desire. You draw the Or Makif by the Rav, the books, and the group. You draw the Or Makif, and it builds my desire to go from here to here. The only way that I can get it, this thing, you say, well, no. I don't just need Or Makif, I just need my desire to grow. The Or Makif, that's like saying, I don't need to grow, I just need to get taller. They're the same thing. Or Makif is the exact cause of my desire growing. How do I get it? From the Rav, the books, and the group. What's the strongest? The group. Why? Because they're constantly advertising to me the importance. This is what I've got to do. I've got to get this desire bigger. And what's really special is not when I'm here. This is not special. What's special is when I'm here and I become needy of all my friends, the Rav, the books, because I recognize what my current state is. I have a desperate need. I have to gain the importance, and I know I do, in order for me to advance one more iota toward the true goal. It is my only option. That's it. Let's do another question.
Stoyan from Bulgaria. Since real desire or prayer is answered instantly, is not then us wanting to change coercion in itself because it provokes us, because it proves, because it proves we do not have the right desire of prayer.
Is our desire to change coercion? No, not at all. I don't have a desire to change. I want a desire to change. That's my starting place. I've got to have, in fact, what do I have? I don't have the desire to change. I have a desire for a desire. Give me my desire that I need. I need this desire for change. What's the desire for change? When I'm up here. That's when I need it. Yes? Oh, you bet up here I have all sorts of desire. You betcha. Why? There's nothing more important than the goal. That's why I have the huge desire. When I'm down here, nothing's important. And I know nothing's important. So I have the desire for the desire. Get me back up here where I have the desire to change. Why did I say get me?
Because I can't do it alone.
No way.
I don't have it in me.
That's right.
But it's a good point that you make, because this is where we really have the chance. This is the important part for us, because this is where we can do the work.
Yeah, all the way down here, all the way at the bottom. This is no desire for me to change. No desire to change. And this is nothing but desire to change. So, what's going to get me from here to here? That's what's important. If I can't get, look, what am I talking about over here? I'm talking about one of these little gizmos here. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about number 1 here. So, I have to have that constant advertisement to me, how important the goal is. If I don't, I'll go chase every pleasure that's presented before me. I'll just grow more and more egoistic. You want to take another question?
Sure. I don't know how to say her name. Basilis. Sorry. Berkeley. Are decisions not determined anymore when they are not made based on desires?
Are decisions not determined anymore? In other words, do we not make decisions anymore when they aren't based on desires? Sure you can. You make decisions, but you base it solely on your intention. My intention is in order to bestow, so whether I can receive pleasure or not out of the deal. That's not important. The only thing that's important, Basilis?
I'm not sure.
Basilis. The only thing that is important is whether or not I truly have the ability to do what the Creator does. This is it. To be able to make an act that I get nothing out of in the least. An act of bestowal.
Jasmine has a question. Why at times do things seem familiar?
You mean in Kabbalah? Things will get familiar and get unfamiliar real quick. Again, you're dealing with a feeling, Jasmine. It won't help you at all. Sometimes you feel like, well, of course, this makes perfect sense. Don't be stupid. There's nothing to this thing. Got her whipped. And you'll come in the next day to the lesson. And oh boy. It all just goes bye-bye. Nothing left. I don't understand the blasted thing. It seems about as far away from me as it possibly could be. So, no. Don't go by your feelings.
Question. Ross from Australia. Why, when we are studying, reading, listening to the Rav, and disseminating, do we feel empty, as if we are making no progress?
Isn't that the beautiful part? If I feel like I'm making no progress, and my friends are advertising to me how much progress I am making toward the goal. My friends are telling me how important this is, and I don't feel like I'm making progress in terms of me changing. I just want the goal more. I haven't really changed. My qualities haven't changed. It's just that to be able to make a spiritual act, an act of bestowal, is more important now. That's change.
Right.
What is change, folks? Don't misunderstand here. Change is not this. Like that. Change is like this. And it's very, very important. Oh, the next one's great from Massachusetts.
Patty, we know we need to change, but how exactly do you do it?
You don't. You can't, Patty. That's the bad news. The only thing that will change you is not you. It's the Ormakiv, the light. That's it. What does it do? It makes you want. It makes you want to do what the Creator does more. What happens? Slowly my desire builds. What's that? I want it more, I want it more, I want it more, I want it a whole bunch. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, it's going to go back down. I'm going to come back down from the ascent.
Is part of that because the Or Makif shows us our current state, the way that we are now?
In some ways it is. In some ways it shows me the difference between my state now and the next state. Not necessarily just the way I am now. Because, so what if it shows me the way I am now? So, big deal. We have students walking in over here. I didn't know we're here. Okay, so I am the way I am. So what? But if I see the way I will be in my next state, and now I have something to compare to, wow, now it's going to have an effect on me. Now I want it. It's not important for an 8-year-old to be a teenager near as much if he doesn't have a 13-year-old big brother or sister. Mm. And they see what it's going to be like when they're a teenager. Now it's important. Now we have the right environment. Another question?
Sure. It's the name again. Facilities.
Let's go further with Patty's question from Massachusetts,
sure, go ahead.
Which was, we know we need to change, but exactly how do we do it? You know, Patty, the truth is that I have to have this light, but I have to understand how to get it. And the thing is, I can only get 1 ounce of it. And I need 3 tons of it. What am I going to do? I only get my 3 tons if I'm reliant on the group. That's the only thing. Only way. I have to have a friend. Your 2 ounces that you add to mine, and then we add another 2 ounces over here, and another 2 ounces over here, another 2 ounces over there. Or we go to Congress in Israel where we have 6,000 people all adding in their ounces.
So what does it really mean? We talked about this earlier, about the desire growing. We said our desire has to get stronger. It has to grow. So what are you saying then? That all of my friends, my desire grows, or their desire becomes my desire?
That's the whole key, isn't it? Is it necessarily that I gain more desire? What am I really doing? Why is the group so important? The group is important because alone, and this was a question on the forum today, and people are always saying, it was on the intermediate, I think, with a student that said, oh, I know what to do, I'm getting in spirituality. I'm done. Remember that one today? One of our moderators here looked at it and said, okay. Yeah? What's the problem with that picture? How do I truly gain the desire that I need to enter spirituality? The only way I can do it is if I feel my friend's desires, my friend's importance to the goal, as if it was my own. In other words, I'm feeling it literally, just like I feel my own desire, I'm feeling my friend's desire. The same way. This is the only way I can do it. I have to have that sensation. And the only way I can do that is to get outside of myself to do it. So this is an absolute requirement. Let's take one more, and then we're going to talk just a little bit about Wednesday.
Okay. Julie from Florida. Does the Creator chooses who gets pushed and how according to our level of spiritual development and desire?
We all start at the same place. We all start with the same ounce. Someone may be an ounce and a quarter. Someone may be 3/4 of an ounce. But all of us around the same amount. You know what's the difference? In some people it's concealed. In others it's not. The most important part is when I finally discover why my friends are so blasted important in this goal. It isn't just that they give me the importance of the goal. It's that they literally give me their desire. They give me the thing I absolutely must have in order to enter spirituality, because I just don't have enough. I am so far down the ladder here, and I need so much that unless I feel your desire too, but feel it in a way that it's no different than, in other words, if I felt your desire for your tea as in addition to my desire for my tea,
so if I took a drink,
I had a bigger desire. That's the way it would feel to me.
So if I took a drink, you feel it. It's yours.
Yeah, I feel your desire for the tea. That makes me want it more, but that won't help us out a bit. What's going to help us? Your desire for spirituality. And by the way, vice versa. You got to feel mine too. And I have to give it in trade. To want you to feel my desire. To want you to feel this intense burning to be able to do what the Creator does. And you've got to have this intense desire to feel, to want to give to me what the Creator does. Why? In order to get something back for yourself. What? All of their desires the same way. This is the connection that we have to achieve, and this is precisely what they're going to hear about. More of this connection, more of this unity thing, more of this arvut concept. On Wednesday night, it's a special lesson. I believe it begins at 7:30. And did you send out an email yet, Sandy, on this? No? Okay, there will be a special lesson. Folks, this is one you just don't want to miss. It's crazy to miss this. It's for all of you. It's for the Learning Center students. And it's from Rob, directly from Israel. You're going to like this one. Wednesday night, I believe it's at 7:30. I think that's what time it starts. Central Time, 8:30 Eastern Time.
Eastern, yeah.
For an hour and a had special time. We had to move it forward, I think, a half hour so that the folks in Israel understand when this is. It's very early in the morning, and they also have to do a lot of preparation work because we have to tie in technically with us over here and everything else. You'll be receiving information about this very, very soon. This is something that you're going to be able to ask questions directly to Rav. As you see, we just finished up this initial beginning part of the course here, the 6-month course. And you also finished with Tony. We will have one lesson, by the way, on the 21st, and then we'll be off for a little while until in January. But what's the most important here is to not miss this lesson. And you're going to have an interface. You're going to be able to type in. Just like here, you'll be able to type in, ask Rob your questions, flooding with them. Anything that has to pertain to what he's teaching. Don't just send him in questions about religion, about UFOs, about whatever. Make it direct and pointed right to the lesson, right what he's saying. This is your opportunity to be able to ask Rob any question that you want with regard to the material.
No comment.
Tony just said it, 8:30 Eastern Time.
8:30 Eastern Time. Tony just sent us the message. Thanks, Tony. I really appreciate it. It's going to be at 8:30 Eastern Time. That's 7:30 Central Time. And again, don't miss this, folks. It's wonderful to have been with you through this beginning part. We will continue again next week. We'll have a special lesson for you from here to next Sunday. Don't miss this Wednesday lesson. It's too important to you. This one will be important, folks. You'll see why when you get there. Big surprise. Have a great day. There are some other questions here. Please come and post them on the forum for you. Dave will provide answers. William will provide answers. Regan will answer some of your questions. We have a lot of moderators. We have instructors. We have people. Tony will come and answer your questions. Igal, myself. So please do come and type your questions, paste them up there, and we will make sure that we get them answered. Until next Sunday, good night.
Good night.